Every few months, there's another blockchain claiming it will finally dethrone Ethereum and maybe make you rich in the process. From Bitcoin to Solana to Aptos, it feels like there's always a shiny new project promising the future of the internet. But if these chains are so advanced, why do most vanish, taking billions in investor money and attention with them? My name is Danilo, and today I'm going to break down why this flood of new layer 1s keeps happening, what really sets them apart, and how you can start spotting which ones have staying power versus those likely to disappear. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss future crypto updates. Alright, let's get into it. Before we get into why so many new blockchains keep launching, it helps to understand how all of these networks actually fit together. The easiest way to picture it is to think of crypto like a city. You've got your highways, your main roads, and express lanes, each layer serving a different purpose but all connected to help people get where they need to be. Layer 0 is like the main highway network that links everything behind the scenes. These are protocols designed to connect multiple blockchains so they can share data and value more easily. The most well-known examples are Polkadot and Cosmos, which focus on creating a foundation other blockchains can plug into. While we won't dive deep into them today, it's worth knowing why they exist because they're part of the bigger picture and how everything connects. Layer 1 is what most people are familiar with, the base blockchains themselves. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche. These are the main roads where transactions and smart contracts actually live. Each layer 1 has its own design choices around speed, security, and decentralization, and those trade-offs are a big reason we see so many different networks competing for all the attention. Then there's layer 2, which you can think of as the express lanes built on top of existing chains. Instead of creating a brand new blockchain from scratch, layer 2s handle transactions off of the main network to reduce congestion and bring costs down. Popular examples include Arbitrum and Polygon, which help Ethereum scale without compromising security. Understanding these layers isn't just trivia, it's how you figure out whether a project is truly innovating or just repackaging an old idea. A new layer 1 comes with its own security model and token incentives, while a layer 2 relies on the underlying blockchain for safety but can often move faster. Knowing the difference can save you time and help you spot which projects actually have a chance to stick around. If Ethereum already handles billions in value and supports thousands of applications, why do so many teams feel the need to build something completely separate? The simplest answer is that Ethereum, for all of its strengths, isn't designed to solve every problem at once. Over time, that's created real opportunities for other blockchains to specialize and pick up where Ethereum seems to fall short. One of the biggest reasons is scalability. During the last NFT boom, Ethereum gas fees spiked so high that a single transaction could cost $50 or more. That kind of congestion makes everyday use nearly impossible for smaller traders or developers trying to launch new products. So when chains like Solana or Avalanche promise faster speeds and cheaper fees, they're not just talking points, they're solving a genuine limitation that slows Ethereum down. Another factor is specialization. Some blockchains are built specifically for things like gaming, stablecoin payments, or high-frequency trading. Solana, for example, designed its entire architecture to support fast settlement and minimal latency, which is why so many NFT and DeFi projects migrated there in the first place. Aptos and Sui have their own angle too, introducing a new programming language called Move that aims to make smart contracts safer and more flexible. Finally, there's the question of control. When a project launches on Ethereum, it has to work within Ethereum's rules, governance, and fee structures. But when a team builds its own layer 1, they control everything: the consensus mechanism, the token economics, the upgrade schedule. That level of ownership can be a huge advantage, especially if they want to create new incentives to attract developers or manage the ecosystem treasury in a specific way. So, when you hear about yet another quote Ethereum killer, it's worth asking, is this project solving a real problem that Ethereum struggles with, or just hoping to ride the narrative of being the next big thing? Launching a new blockchain isn't just about improving technology or reducing fees. It's also about controlling the entire ecosystem that forms around it. When a project builds on Ethereum, it has to share space with thousands of other applications and follow the same rules everyone else does. But when a team creates its own layer 1, they can design everything to serve their specific goals, from how transactions are validated to how incentives are distributed. One of the biggest advantages is the ability to capture revenue. Every transaction on a standalone chain generates fees that flow back to the network's treasury or token holders. This creates a steady stream of funding that can be reinvested into growth, development grants, and ecosystem partnerships. Avalanche, for example, set up a massive incentive program to attract new developers and projects, which helped quickly build out its community and liquidity. Ownership also means control over incentives. When Solana's NFT ecosystem took off, early adopters and builders were rewarded not just through price appreciation, but through exclusive drops, token rewards, and other perks that wouldn't have been possible if the network was simply a tenant on Ethereum. That kind of incentive structure can create a powerful flywheel effect. More projects attract more users drive more transactions, and more transactions boost the underlying token's value. Even governance is an advantage. By owning the infrastructure, a team can adjust the consensus mechanism, upgrade the protocol on their own timeline, and create governance models that fit their community. Some networks emphasize on-chain voting to adapt quickly, while others keep changes tightly managed by the core team to avoid all the levels of fragmentation. This flexibility can be a major edge when markets or technologies evolve faster than expected. Even the best technology doesn't guarantee a blockchain will necessarily succeed. What often makes the difference is the story people believe about why a network matters. Narratives are powerful because they attract early communities, create a sense of identity, and shape how investors and builders think about an ecosystem long before the technology is fully proven. Aptos and Sui, for example, gained massive attention because of their backstory as, quote, these Facebook alumni chains. The idea that a team of ex-Meta engineers was launching something completely new with the Move programming language created a narrative that felt both credible and exciting. Cardano built a different kind of story around academic rigor and peer-reviewed research, appealing to people who valued a slower, more methodical approach over rapid experimentation. Other chains have leaned into culture and memes. Dogecoin is the obvious example. What started as a joke eventually built one of the most loyal communities in crypto, proving that a shared sense of humor and identity can drive adoption just as much as technical merits. Solana's narrative combined speed and NFTs to create the impression it was the place to be for the next wave of digital collectibles. These stories aren't just marketing fluff, they have real financial consequences. If you recognize Solana's NFT narrative early, you could have positioned yourself before the trading volumes exploded. If you ignored Dogecoin's meme culture, you might have missed one of the biggest retail-driven rallies in recent history. That's why whenever you see a new blockchain launch, it helps to ask, what story is this project telling, and why does it resonate? Because narratives often set the stage for which ecosystems attract talent, capital, and lasting community support. So, with all these competing blockchains and narratives, how do you actually figure out which ones are worth your time? Whether you're an investor, a builder, or just explorer, it helps to break it down into a few simple questions you can ask every project you come across. First, look for real usage. Are people actually transacting on the network, or is it mostly speculation and marketing? Metrics like active addresses, transaction volume, and developer activity can tell you a lot about whether an ecosystem has traction or is just surviving on hype. Solana, for example, built a massive NFT and DeFi community that kept growing even when markets cooled off. Next, evaluate incentives. Some chains launch huge grant programs or liquidity rewards to attract builders and users, which can jumpstart adoption. Avalanche poured hundreds of millions into ecosystem incentives to quickly scale up activity. The important thing is to figure out whether these incentives are leading to sustainable growth or just attracting short-term mercenaries looking for the next airdrop. Governance is another factor to watch. When a team controls upgrades and rules, they can move fast, but it can also lead to conflicts if the community disagrees with major decisions. On the other hand, more decentralized governance can slow development, but often feels more transparent. There is really no perfect model out here, but understanding who really calls the shots behind a chain helps you see how adaptable it might be in time. Finally, think about narrative strength. Is there a clear, believable story about why this blockchain exists? Does it solve a specific problem in a way that resonates with builders and users? Projects like Aptos and Sui use their quote ex-Facebook engineer narrative to build instant credibility, while Dogecoin proved that even a meme can drive serious adoption if people feel connected to it. If you look at any layer 1 through this lens, usage, incentives, governance, and narrative, you'll have a much clearer picture of whether it's likely to build real staying power or just fade out once the initial excitement disappears. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the non-stop wave of new blockchains, think of it as having more tools and opportunities than ever before. Not every project will survive, but the ones that do can reshape how we use the internet, store value, and build communities. The key is learning to see past the marketing headlines and actually focus on what drives adoption. Clear problem solving, smart incentives, strong governance, and a narrative that people believe in. When you look at any new chain through that lens, you'll have a much better chance of spotting the ones with real staying power. I'm curious, what blockchain are you personally watching right now? Is there a project you think everyone is underestimating? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If you learned something new today, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of crypto. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.